which we're going to talk about today. Oh, right on. Cool. So yeah, quick agenda for today, and then kind of open for discussion on anything else we want to talk about, because there just wasn't that much actually on the agenda for this meeting. Do a quick check-in on how our onboarding to OpenJS is going, and kind of double click on that into sunsetting some of the UCF, which is Urban Computing Foundation online spaces we used to have, and kind of what we're doing to migrate that to new, more discoverable places. I don't know if Hayden's here, but we definitely have folks here who can speak to an update on the openvisualization.org progress, which is going to be our new homepage. And then before the holidays, I was in the last meeting that we all were at, we kind of discussed how Kepler GL is now in a 3.0 alpha, and there's also some new releases to DeckGL coming out. Both V9 is in planning, but 8.9 is nearing completion. So we would like to revive the VizGL blog that we have on Medium and put some posts out to announce that. And so I wanted to talk a bit about how we could organize, an effort behind that. Next slide.
Can we add one thing to your agenda if we have time? Yeah, just talk about OpenJS World and a potential collab summit for you all in May.
Okay, yeah.
May 9th. Okay, cool.
So the onboarding check-in is pretty quick. A lot of the stuff has to do with projects and domains at the moment. But one pretty big achievement, Ilya's here. We moved the FlowMapGL project into VizGL as a new library. So congratulations, Ilya, to getting all of that worked out. It's an exciting new repo you can check out in the VizGL GitHub org. FlowMapGL is an exciting extension to DeckGL. It adds some new layers for flow, origin, destination, time visualizations. And it's really exciting that we have that library now part of the VizGL community. And as part of that, the documentation website has been relaunched on a new flowmap.gl domain. Is there anything you'd like to add, Ilya?
Thanks for your help, Chris, for doing that. And yeah.
Thank you for your great contribution, Ilya. We really appreciate.
Thanks, Alberto. The documentation is in the works. It's there is not much there yet, but yeah, it should be better than before. I'm using Docusaurus for the new one.
Awesome,
great.
Looks really nice. Yeah.
That'll be cool to see. I think that's our first project that's used it. So I think we've all talked about using Docusaurus, so it's pretty exciting to see this getting into one of our projects. I hope to be using it or something like it on HubleGL too in the future, because I've just heard so many benefits. And it was joining, but yeah, another update that I've heard about is I believe the deck.gl domain has been transferred to the Linux Foundation, which is great. Just ensures that it will always be renewed and working on something we can manage if we want to change the host up or whatever. And then some ongoing open stuff is we are working out some DNS issues with the VizGL domain, with UltraDNS and Netlify. We're trying to figure out how that is going, but we'll continue to make progress. If you happen to be a domain expert, use some help. And then NebulaGL is not part of OpenViz, but just so happens most of the maintainers for Nebula are OpenViz community members, so I kind of included it here. We're just trying to figure out how to update the documentation in NebulaGL. There's some issues with GitHub pages, so just for full transparency, I'm putting it here. Next slide. Okay, so sunsetting the UCF stuff. So we've had all kinds of social media accounts for the Urban Computing Foundation and different online spaces. Some of them were kind of easy to find, some of them are pretty hidden. You may not even know that some were around. So we're trying an effort to make all of that a lot clearer and more transparent and easier to find in the future. We are moving everything to new spaces that are helpfully maintained by the OpenJS Foundation. So we have, as part of that, we have a new GitHub repository, a part of the OpenJS Foundation for this collaboration space. So anything there like meeting notes, overviews, any kind of documentation where you want to track changes in history can go into this GitHub repo, and it's going to be completely replacing the UCF GitHub organization, which has like 6 repos in it. I've actually started to go through and archiving many of those. Luke, Kylie, and Robin and I have all looked through all the content of that Urban Computing Foundation GitHub and basically marked stuff that we're just throwing away, that we don't need anymore, stuff that we need to transfer over and find a new home for, and stuff that we can kind of tweak to make more relevant to our new mission. So look for changes there. If you want to see like meeting notes, community meeting notes, minutes and stuff like that, those are going to be in this repo. I'm actually porting over the old meeting notes from the old repo into this one too. So if you want to find old meeting notes from UCF, you can find them. And a general overview of our space, if you just want to clear, in writing, I know openvisualization.org will probably cover much of the same material, but if you just want a very like concise written version of everything, you should be able to figure out what we're about from this GitHub repo. That's definitely the goal of it. And then in the future too, as we do more summits and expos and things like that, I'm sure that we'll be putting material and issues and kind of do organization through this repo and the features of the repo. We have a new Google Drive, which was great to see actually that Luke had found it from the Urban Computing Foundation. I hadn't seen most of the material that was in that drive because it's just one of those links that just didn't really make its rounds. So we have a new Google Drive. It's great to see all the old material ported over. I linked specifically to the community meeting slides where I've going to be putting slides like this, and a template for new meetings are going to be in this folder. We all have access to it. And I've also ported over or copied over all of the Urban Computing Foundation slides into this one. Also, you'll find on our calendar invite, there's going to be a link. There is a link to this folder. So in the future, if you're ever wondering what's on the agenda or want to propose something on the agenda, you should just be as easy as go to the calendar invite on the OpenJS community calendar, click on the button, and you'll get to the Google slide that's going to be built every 2 weeks, usually a week in advance of the meeting. We'll have this slide deck here where you can add a comment and say, hey, I'd like to put something on the agenda. We also have a new YouTube. This is actually, the YouTube is not new, it's OpenJS's YouTube, but we have a lot of new content on the YouTube relevant to open visualization. We have all of our community meetings from UCF and the new ones from OpenJS are being uploaded and have been re-uploaded to this YouTube and put into a playlist. I've linked the playlist here. And then also the DeckGL Summit we had in Madrid, all the content there is uploaded to this and organized into a playlist. So Alberto, I know that you guys had uploaded that to YouTube. We last week taken all that from the link you had shared, downloaded it and like re-uploaded it just so it's in like a consolidated space for OpenJS. Really easy to find this stuff going forward. So hopefully that can serve as like our home going forward for this kind of content. And so if you'd like, you can actually, pull down the stuff on Carto or do whatever you want. I think the algorithm probably likes that a little better if it's just uploaded once.
Sorry, I was talking around, but yeah, we are going to remove that from our side to avoid that duplicated content.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. I think that's it for new content. If you have anything you'd like to add, everything's open, right? So just get in touch with me or open an issue or open a PR. It just should be a good spot for all the high level open visualization initiatives, projects, things like that. Or if you just have an interesting talk you want to share or an article you want to write or just something about broadly visualization based and want it to just be, related to OpenJS or OpenViz, like these are our spaces to do with whatever we want. All right, next slide. Openvisualization.org. So this, I don't see Hayden here, but maybe Kylie or Luke or Robin, you can speak to this. This is when I asked Hayden what kind of the updates are on OpenViz. This is what he said are like his open tasks at the moment. Happy to, contribute to this if you guys need anything from us. Kind of curious though, if you have any action items for us, or if this is just kind of all with you at the moment.
I think the good news is that we're super close to finalizing everything. So I don't think we have any specific actions right now for you all, but here are kind of the things we're working on is clarifying where all the links go out to, the wording on a couple of things, and then we were messing around with the logos too a little bit. So those are kind of the finishing touches that we're putting on the site, but it's looking really good. Hoping that Hayden can come to our next meeting and show you all kind of the near final product, so you can let us know what you think. But it's coming along really nice. Luke, I'll let you touch on a few things too.
Yeah, it was sort of tasked to me to help finalize these links, and I think I do need to ask for people's, contribution here. There's a shared Google document that I shared with Chris, Robin, and Kylie. But some of, I think in Hayden designing, he just pulled some things from the UCF that sort of carried through that don't really make sense. There's some incongruencies. For instance, like, yes, there should be a link to the proper code of conduct, but as far as this, like, the charter and, the TAC and this, I'm not clear what those should be. So we do need, and I tried to schedule a meeting, but everyone's calendar was kind of too busy for it. But I think it might be useful. If we can figure this out async through Slack and the document, fine. If not, by the, next week, I'm going to sort of maybe send another more forceful invite and say, hey, I need everybody to, come together and agree on what these are, because sort of a priori, I can't, or I don't have the answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we should definitely get together and help on this. We could definitely try to do it async or meet in person. As far as like what content comes over, we've dissolved many of these things, right? There's no charter. We have code of conduct. That's going to be OpenJS's code of conduct. The TAC doesn't exist in the same form anymore. Instead, what you have is just steering committees under our project. So VizGL has its technical steering committee. KeplerGL has its own way of organizing its leadership. But I think that something like principles we've discussed in previous OpenJS meetings, as we want to morph or change those. We brainstorm a bunch and put them in a doc, and hopefully those can reflect our new discussions about what we want OpenViz to be about. Then something that's probably just this reminds me of is just an open discussion I want to have at some point is like how these meetings get organized. It would probably make sense to follow a model similar to what the other collab spaces have done, or kind of borrow from something that worked well at our previous TAC, which is where you more or less have like almost like a secretary role, where you kind of elect someone every year to just set the agenda for these meetings, put the slides together, and make sure that someone shows up to run the meeting. And it'd be great for that to always be someone from the community. So I think it would be great to just have a discussion, maybe not today if we're not prepared for it, but just in the future to just talk about how this can come together on a regular basis. And then that would probably be reflected somewhere on the about page. So it's kind of a backwards way to bring that topic up, but it just reminds me that that's probably something we need to carry forward in some form, since it worked for UCF, and we definitely want these meetings to always be well put together. Let's see, anything else from here, or just moving on? Kylie, or yeah, okay, we can move on then. Let's see. Okay, so I put this one in here. I wanted to just highlight that, and I see some other folks have added to this. So was this, by any chance, was this you, Ib, that added to this?
Yes, I'm guilty.
No problem. It's great. I was hoping you would. But yeah, I just wanted to. I want to revive our. I want to add some new life to our existing VizGL Medium blog by highlighting a lot of the new great work that's gone into Kepler and DEC, and kind of set a new, now that we've got some great help to do this kind of work with OpenJS and Kylie, like I'd love to put some muscle behind this and put some great new material out there. We always do great with our release notes. I know Xiaoji puts a ton of effort into them for DeckGL, and they're always very visual and have a lot of great material on them. But this is a way of maybe taking those release notes and summarizing them and just pointing out a couple top level things and linking to them, right? So it's just a funnel or a way to engage more people on our progress is what I'm thinking, and encourage contributions and thank people for their good work. So I'm looking for a maintainer from each project, DEC and Kepler, particular to co-author with Kylie. And so I see it seems like you and Shan, maybe you want to speak to this a little bit. Have done some work.
Yeah, I tried. I mean, we talked about this last time we met, which was a while ago, and so I started off on a blog post. I think, I mean, I got some copy down, but I haven't really. I mean, it's halfway. It's a little bit tricky to find a good message for Kepler because we haven't added much functionality in a long time, right? So we have lots of structural improvements to talk about. So. And also, yeah. So anyway, I've started to, so we can put together something, and I guess Shan can put in some visual fireworks and good screenshots and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for getting that started. And do you know if I haven't heard from Xiaoji about 8.9 or anything like that, but do we know if that releases soon, or we have a schedule for when that'll come out?
I think that, yeah, I have information. I have been talking with Xiaoji about that. I think that we are waiting for a couple of key PR to be landed. That is one, the terrain layer, and the other is the one that Felix is doing with the Collide extension. And we hope to have this PR during this week, and then we will jump on doing some QA and prepare the release. So I hope that this could happen or either this month or probably in February.
Cool. Yeah, because I think that makes perfect sense for us to complete the work there. That always includes writing release notes, right? And then I would imagine that this announcement post would be derived from those notes. So just, I guess, the heads up, Kylie, on how that process will probably look. Maybe we can expect something in early February to come together for even identifying what the key messages are.
No, I think that I can pin you here when we will have the latest beta version that are most ready to go, and we can coordinate the final amounts.
Great. All right. Well, that's probably good enough for this slide, and we can move on to the next one for now. But I'm glad that we get to at least set up an early plan for that. All right. I think Ib, this might be you.
Yeah, I mean, we usually have a subset of the technical steering committee here. So, I mean, I don't want to get into too much depth, but we are working. So one of the bigger efforts obviously is VisGL 9, which is going to be LumaGL v9 and DeckGL v9. And it's going to be, well, the current thinking is we're going to release DeckGL 8.9, and then we're going to move to 9.0. We had a meeting on December 12th, and we did some decisions there. So that's been executed there. There is a need for another meeting. There's a couple of things pending. We're starting to experimenting with adopting the new type of modules. So it's a pretty big packaging change using ES modules type : module that allows for native use of import in both Node and the browser. So today the import export statements are handled by the bundler, but it's possible for a script to dynamically import another script and so on if they are packaged in the right way. And yeah, we have a plan document there that we work on with TSC. I don't know if we need to go into it. The next slide. On the 8.9, I think we just mentioned the features, right? So they are, there's this ability to render, on top of a terrain, GeoJSON layers, path layers, and so on top of terrain that Xiaoji is working on. It's a long requested major feature. And a couple of other things. Also, probably gonna bump one of the dependencies to ES module and see how that works. An opportunity, I just landed support for WMS and some of the other OGC standards in Loaders.gl. We could potentially add some support in DeckGL 8.9. So that would be something that it's kind of a it's a little bit legacy standards, but it's kind of a pretty big omission from such a geospatial framework not to support these standards. So now Foursquare has joined the OGC and so on. So a couple of reasons why I think it would be good to have them there. But would give us access to a lot of, like, there's a ton of data on ArcGIS, S3 servers and so on that's in this format. So why not?
Yep. I agree with that.
So just an idea now that we have this open visualization thing going, right? So the idea with open visualization was that it could be a home for other front end, open source visualization frameworks. And so the question is if we should do some outreach. It could be fun to talk to the maintainers, just get to know them that maintain some of the similar projects. And just exchange ideas, what they're thinking about, where's their roadmap, how are they planning to tackle web GPU, how do they think about base maps, this and that, right? And who knows, maybe there's some interesting collaboration and alignment, or we just, we just build our network. So, Open Layers is one. I never looked much at them, but they have a pretty big, similar functionality to DeckGL, a little bit more dated interface, but they're very strong with these older standards, WMS and so on. So I looked at them recently now when I started working on that. So there seems to be an active team behind it. Could be fun to meet and talk to them. There's this team in China from this Ant financial group, L7. It's done it's all documentation is all in Chinese, but it's more or less a clone of DeckGL. They put a huge amount of effort into duplicating DeckGL and so. So that's one. I'm sure there are others we could talk to. So
Leaflet, for example, or
yeah, absolutely. Yep. Is that isn't that Vladimir Agafonkin? So that's a Mapbox guy, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I tried to connect with Vladimir on several occasions, but I never succeeded. So I don't know. Maybe he has divided opinion about DeckGL, but I'd love to talk to him, of course. So there are others, right? You could even imagine that obviously, they're the 800-pound gorilla with D3 and Mike Bostock, so they might not be interested in anything like this. But I think we could at least. It wouldn't be completely inappropriate to reach out with something like this, and I think it could open some doors.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, especially with the moving open standards with WebGPU coming up. It's something that every one of these projects will at least want to consider, right? Especially if they have anything to do with WebGL. It's a new open moving standard with lots of moving pieces, and we all want it to work well for our projects. And it's
a huge knockdown blow, right? Like it's a completely incompatible thing, and you know that if you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? If you don't move, you're gonna be irrelevant. But if you do, then it's gonna suck a year of your development to reflect everything. So
Do you know, we have a really active standards working group at the OpenJS Foundation. If you're not familiar, meet bi-weekly every other Tuesday. Right now, we have W3C, some ECMA groups, and Unicode Consortium. But they've done things like pay for some SMEs to participate. We're paid members, for example, at W3C, so we get to help vote for leadership and things like that. So love for y'all to get plugged in if that's what if we can help there.
yeah, probably. I mean, it sounds like the right thing. I just think that we should keep our focus on the visualization piece, but you know, maybe the forum. But I think this is I mean, it's really up to the people in this room, right? Do we have enough energy to drive this and get these things going? I think I'm pretty optimistic if we reached out that we could set up some conversations, but
So might make sense to provide a talk at the FOSS4G this year in summer, right? Where a lot of geo open source folks will be.
Yeah, I think that I was thinking the other day about that, and I think that someone from the technical steering committee of TechGL should be there. Someone representing DEC, I think. That I think that during the not during, I think that we have never been in the FOSS4G. I think that we did a talk last year from Felix. Don't remember exactly what he talking about. I think that we talked something about Carto and DexGL, but not something specific with DexGL. I'm not 100% sure.
is there a location for 2023?
And are you
Yeah.
pulling up the event now? What's the name?
Pristina is the location in Kosovo.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
It's in Kosovo, right?
Yeah.
But
I hope to
call
go
for
there.
paper,
Yeah.
we still can send paper, send the paper for the presentation, right? I think if the conference is at the end of June or the beginning of July. No?
Yeah. It's somewhere, 26th of June until the 2nd of July. And the submission deadline, I think it was like somewhere mid-February, when I'm right.
I think that is I think it's 18 of February or 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
February 19th.
I was
Perfect.
talking the other day with someone of our team, and I proposed that someone from the GR should go there.
And it's probably also a good event to connect like with further people, like the open layers folks will be there. A couple of them, they're usually joining this conference. It's quite popular.
Do you know those guys? Do you know where they're based and stuff?
I know one of them who's based in Bonn in Germany. We'll probably meet him in March at the German FOSS-GIS event. Another one who's contributing a lot is based in Austria.
Okay, so it's a European team.
Yeah, I would say it's more, main contributors are based in Europe, I think.
Cool. All right, I gotta move.
We did a talk last year, and the talk for 34 was about fast rendering from vector styles in DexGL. Was kind of generic, but I think that we should do a little bit more during this year. Some companies like Esri or other libraries, what they do is just an update on the work of the library during the last year. I think that we should meet with something else as to present the features and the things that we are doing, not only say what we are, just an update. I think that we can do something more interesting and also use that to give an update at the library.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in going there. It suits pretty well with other things I need to do in Europe. So,
That's
yeah, so
perfect.
it's a good time to think about a topic. Anyway, I have to drop off. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. So I need,
My Zoom's frozen up, but if you can hear me,
Are
we'll
you
probably
there?
wrap up for today and talk about the Collab Summit at our next meeting.
sure. And regarding the things of Oxford-G, I think that we can think about submit a paper for a call. And we can talk about that in the Slack too.
Yeah. And just want to flag CFPs are open for OpenJS World and Open Source Summit North America, where we're a micro conference under on February 5th. So that's coming up quickly.
So, Robin, did you say that is in February or is not last?
Well, the conference is May 9th through the 12th, but the CFP, the call for papers for speaking, is February 5th deadline.
Okay,
I dropped it in the chat here.
definitely. Oh. Yeah, definitely something that we need to propose too.
Yeah, and then we can talk in our next meeting about if you all want to have a collab summit on the 9th. So the main event is 10 through 12, and then we're using the 9th for project collab summits, and that's in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Okay,
Awesome. I hope my
we
internet's
have
able
another
to-
in Spain in September too.
We're going to be in Spain in September too. Same model.
Yeah.
Excited about that.
Oh,
The
that's
best food and wine in that area, right?
Good.
All right, just being mindful of time. We should probably wrap this up for today, but thanks everyone for joining. We'll meet again in 2 weeks. Luckily, we do this bi-weekly now, so we can meet more often. Excited to talk about all these different opportunities to speak and present next time we meet. Have a good day.
Great.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.